to go for here, because I'm kind of looking at it going, okay, well, you've got this strong Wukong for team fighting. It feels like leaning into that team fight, it could be your best pick. So maybe we actually see something like an Aphelios, which has actually just been swapped over to here. And maybe you take away the Renata here with Wink, and there you go. Yeah, you make sure that you're in a good spot. You got the stronger side of the matchup because the Aphelios is able to go against the Kalista. You got great engage and disengage now. YaoYao going to try and answer with this Amumu, which is really strong for lane, but you have to start to get the snowball going from lane, because Amumu from behind doesn't really get good spots to try and set up for the ultimates, and he's much more active when he's able to be the engager rather than as a disengage tool.
Remember, Dagda, when he goes downhill, it's a boo-boo. You know, we're not... we go from a Amumu to a boo-boo. I think I was with you when we started going through the names for him.
That wasn't with me, but that is fantastic.
You know, I always think it's your quirky things. So, honestly, it's seen so many times before. An Amumu that just doesn't have a fun time is more than sadness. So we'll see. At least the bottom lane set up for now. But we can talk a little bit more about these solo lanes, Dagda, because the setup coming through, they know that Yuekai is one of those kind of mid laners. It looks like in this game, Dagda, he might be going back to something a little bit more simplistic with Corki Lissandra, the direction that at least TT are assuming.
Yeah, I'm curious if Ucal is going to go for an Azir pick then. It feels like they're worried about IG heavily going towards a mid-game spike with the Lissandra, like having a ton of engage tools, being able to set up very well for the Aphelios to try and take over. But the Corki ban makes me think they're eyeing up Azir, but I really don't like these Azir Kalista team fights. Actually, it's going to be banned away, but just because the Kalista wants to try and take the fight early, and you want to try and lean in towards things like dragons and forcing fights at early objectives, but Azir doesn't really have the early skirmish power to do that. Something like the Ahri, I think, could do really well here, because that actually fits into that playstyle. Even honestly, we haven't seen a lot. The Syndra could work out really well as well, because I think it's just something that can get priority mid and then start to lean down towards bot side, leaning towards these dragons, playing towards things like the Rift Herald, and actually starting this game going in your favor.
But I like your original suggestion a lot more, and I guess Ucal does too, right? Like, the Ahri makes a lot of sense, as you said. And also, Dagda, there's reset ability now given on TT. How many games have we seen Viego, Ahri paired up just because in these skirmishes or fights, how much it sets off the chain of events?
It's insanely strong, especially if you can play around that mid jungle, and I think you're going to have to here, because when IG are locking in the Swain, this team from IG, this composition, is so insanely strong. Great front line, great team fight, and especially when TT are playing such a short-range composition, you're going to have a field day on IG's side. So TT need to get the ball rolling early, just because of how strong IG's team fight is.
Well, how do you finish it off, though? Because we've got strong team fighting, as you said, a good little front line built up here too. A side laner in the Jack would be blind, but hey, Zika wants to play it anyway, unbeknownst to what Hoya could run into it. And I feel like Hoya has also been a pretty strong laner, so I'm curious to see what direction we get here from the TT top laner. It's Gragas, it's a bit more disappointing, but hey, I think we've got a lot of chain CC to work up to.
Yeah, I actually like the addition of the Gragas here. I think it's enough of a disengage to make IG think twice about just launching Shun into the equation, because if Shun goes in very aggressive with the knockup, it becomes a lot easier for Hoya to then have that disengage with the barrows, you know, knocking Yuekai away, knocking On away, and then buying a bit of space for Kepler and Ucal in these fights. Because I think in an all-out, like, just L5 versus 5 clashing, I give the edge to IG, but if you can try and, like, separate or out the fight as TT, take it a little bit slower, I think you should be in a relatively okay spot, so you're not just getting one shot by essentially how strong IG side is.
Because if IG bring it together, finally, we'll be able to see something out of this team in this series. Game 1 was disappointing, not even just as an ex-IG fan, and Dagda, I do use the word ex, you know, but the way that IG have been playing all split long, it's not close to their identity at all. And what we're seeing this time around is, okay, this time, at least we get to see Yuekai on something that suits him, like the Swain mid, the ability to have that semi-global, to be able to roam around with Shun a little bit here on this Wukong. IG go back a little bit to their core, because game 1 was just the utter opposite. Arn and Wink down at the bottom lane didn't have their lane in under wraps. Zika was doing okay, but Shun never paid attention, and Yuekai just had such a horrible game number 1, so I really hope this time a bit more solid boundaries in the composition and the draft Dagda means that IG have more options, more bailout strategies, no pun intended, and just maybe more, what was I going to say, more stability overall as the game progresses. So let's hope Dagda, because IG looked like a mess in game 1, but this time around, it's going to be harder, as you say, for TT to stretch through.
In 50% of their series, IG goes to 3 games.
Woo.
So 50% of the time, it works all of the time. So this is what IG just need to rely on, making sure that they can use that stat to their advantage and getting to that game 3. But honestly, I'd really like to draft this game. I think they've got like really good matchup on bot side, great matchup mid lane, jungle matchups in their favor, and even Zika, like, you can't really look for the full-on engage against Hoya in this lane because Hoya has body slammers. Okay.
However, yeah, I mean, that body slam used, the flash from Shun. YaoYao's here. Double bandage toss as Shun goes into his invis. But Yuekai has the flash too, Dagda. You like the comp, but the problem is there are now 2 summoners down just because IG wanted a deep ward.
I was actually curious to see if TT were just going to go for an invade here. Off the back of Shun being incredibly low, you go and steal the blue buff, put Beichuan into a really good spot and set Shun behind, but I still think you should be able to do so. Shun's clear, not exactly the healthiest on this Wukong because of, well, obviously the nerf to his damage output, but also you can just go a little bit low in these early stages, so you can see he's trying his best to kite around this blue buff, but I would love to see Ucal will push mid, Kepler, YaoYao pushing bot, invade on the bottom side with Beichuan, and make sure Shun isn't relevant.
However, Kepler's gone a bit too forward. It's a level 1 Aphelios, but they're still losing the 2v2. YaoYao missing that bandage toss seems to be the most punishing. And just like that, Wink and Arn, despite not having the ignite here on the support, are going to be in a really good position.
The problem with the matchup here is that on level 1 is actually incredibly strong as Aphelios. His range means that Kepler can't really try and contest the wave, but you have to try and play smart around how you use your abilities on Kepler to try and trade back effectively, but taking that step too far, YaoYao can't really engage level 1 because you don't actually win the level 1, means that it kind of causes a bit of issues, and Kepler and YaoYao end up on the bad side of that. Now Beichuan doesn't really have the opportunity to go for that invade that we were talking about. You can even see Ucal had put a ward on towards the Raptors. They were trying to see if they could get involved in Shun's jungle, but no longer has that option.
I want to point out, though, 2 CS on Kepler. 2 CS. The wave has obviously been pushed in, it's stacking up, but there is a big portion that Kepler is going to lose as it finally crashes in. And now with Shun dodging away from vision and setting up for the Scuttle Crab, he's on the right side of the map, and Beichuan might come in soon, but Shun has just run loops around him. Beichuan to get the Scuttle in the nick of time as Shun comes back. It's now just been taken off as Yuekai is getting low in the mid lane too. And Beichuan goes in for the cheeky invade. This is a nice call and turnabout of events.
Yeah, Beichuan, especially with the Yuekai now resetting, should be able to get this, but needs Ucal to come across immediately. But Ucal's kind of low on mana, so he will need to back away before Yuekai can get involved in this.
What? A Ucal flashed into a heavy Raptor camp with no mana for a combo, maybe even for a charm. Yeah, that was interesting.
I'm trying to think of a response. And I got nothing. I got nothing.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, that was a play. That was a play. That was something.
What are we looking at, bot? Okay, bandage toss and handshake
bandage
and gravatum and poke. And YaoYao got traded out. He went in and kind of regrets it as Hoya wants to come in and stop the back. Yes, he will. Zika low on mana, but Hoya doesn't care. He's just going to keep him here in lane when the freeze just feels so good, Dagda.
Yuekai and Shun were starting to move up towards top side, so I think Beichuan wanted to go for a gank, but they decided against it. So at least IG kind of get away with that one. Zika should still be able to reset. We'll have to blow his TP to actually prevent this freeze from Hoya, it feels like, because you're going to end up losing out on a massive amount of CS by walking back here, Zika.
Yeah, well, they're not the only one though, right? Zika might miss a little, but bot is still what I'm concerned about, Dagda. That's 20 CS. This wave is crashing in, but Kepler trying to step up, has to use Rend, the rest of his mana too. And he's at 24 to 39. That is a 15 CS differential, all from the bad trading at level 1, where Kepler had to go back. I mean, Dagda, TT, the ones who got double summoners at level 1 through the cheeky little wait on the invade, but they're the ones getting punished for it right now, with bot falling so far behind.
I mean, it's 2 turret plates as well for On and no response. Like, Beichuan needs to get down here. Like, there has to be a play on bot side. But the problem is, the longer you leave it, the longer you're getting poked out, the less health YaoYao has right now. And again, like, On with this Infernum, it's just going to push the wave again. Kepler has to reset. Now you don't get a chance to make the play on bot side. Kepler now not resetting. Maybe they're looking for something with Beichuan, but I feel like you're so low at the moment.
And Shun is constantly hovering around here too. So even if Beichuan comes in, Shun has been waiting for the response play, waiting for the, I guess, balancing out of the travesty happening in this bottom lane, and he has to back again. Kepler has to disappear from the lane as Ucal takes a nice little trade back. Yuekai doing a good job here in the lane. Doesn't have Ignite, but his auto attacks seem to hit just right as Ucal heals up a bit with passive, but that won't matter too much. Kepler hits back to the base, and Anna's the right guns because it's 6 minutes into the game. TT's bottom lane is getting trashed on.
It's the 50%. We're going to game 3. I mean, honestly, IG, they're in full control. 4 turret plates, massive CS lead, kill in mid.
Oh, that kill, yeah, definitely coming in mid. Yuekai, the flash away. That was close. You got to give him some kind of credit, but Ucal playing it just as well. It's going to be first blood over to TT, while IG with the bottom lane, as you expect, are going to trade the kill for a dragon.
A nice attempt from Yuekai. I think if the Q had actually landed, maybe with some auto attacks he can pick up the kill on Ucal, but just not quite able to get that. Dragon going across towards IG means that they're still in the lead though. Dragon available. On is massive, like already got that full pickaxe ahead of Kepler, which means that trading and that poke is only going to get more obscene to deal with. And Zika now going to reset, look for the TP back up top side to catch this wave.
It's just crazy though, because for the rest of TT, they're all now so ahead, even in CS in their lanes. We look at the gank mid here, Dagda, and this is well played as you can expect.
Yeah, I think if that Q landed, that could have been Ucal dead with just another auto attack, but unfortunately Yuekai doesn't quite get it thanks to the Spirit Rush coming through from Ucal, but big 2.
Oh, Beichuan didn't connect. Okie dokie. Hoya, I like this little roam coming down as well, as he's still going to get bopped in. He walked over the wall. Heartbreaker burn. He has no flash available. Hoya, a beautiful ulti himself. He gets the kill credit as he deserves. Beichuan started up with a mess up, but TT cleaned it up with a fess up.
It was just a bait. They're like, oh, Yuekai, you know, we missed the spells. You're totally safe. And then, like, nah, definitely was a miss. It doesn't matter, though, as you say. I mean, aim to get the kill, to get everything out of it. And Yuekai now struggling a little bit in this lane. It should give some movement for Ucal to start playing down towards this bot side of the map, which, as you said, desperate needs it. YaoYao having the level 6. Maybe they start to roam up towards this Rift Tower after clearing that wave. You can already see that IG are on the way. And with Yuekai now coming back off the reset, I don't know if you're able to really fight this, honestly, as TT, because of how late your bot lane is. So it looks like they're just going to try and trade it for turret plates on bot side instead.
With the wave in top side as well, I think it's worth mentioning that Zika, with the play towards mid, was able to push up top, get a couple of bits of turret plating, as we saw on our screen too. So for IG, they continue to have control of this game despite being down in gold. And we know that, hey, Kepler's caught up in CS. He's now only 20 behind, which is more than we'd expect, with Arn pushing it to one plate in the bottom side. But for the rest of the map right now, things are looking good, Dagda. When you complimented this comp, when you complimented the team fighting prowess and how simple it is for IG to run as it goes on.
Especially if you're able to continue stacking these dragons. And I feel like that's what we're going to see IG try and go for. You've got Shun, who can pretty much engage on bot side anytime he wants to. Yuekai as well is able to hold up mid relatively safely. And unfortunately, we haven't kind of seen TT get it together to try and play around a bit more on the spot side. Even the freeze coming through now is painful. Like, you need Ucal and Beichuan to get on towards the spot side of the map and try and break this, because Kepler is just not going to be in this game at all. Like, he will not be relevant, and an AD carry not being part of your team is just going to hurt you so much.
Especially a Kalista and an Amumu, who you said need to ramp in this game. Like, we're going up against an Aphelios Renata, and you sit there and think, who's going to be more useful at 30 minutes if gold was even? Well, we all know the answer to that. And we know the two-part prong of what happens when Renata gets herself an angle, and especially when time goes on, that ulti becomes a pain to deal with. YaoYao is going to be dead Dagda as soon as he goes in, as we saw before when it was just the start of the laning phase with a numbers disadvantage. So feels pretty rough here, as you're saying, and I feel like for TT, options are still limited because we haven't seen them move like you wanted. We haven't seen Ucal and Beichuan be able to get out of this lane because IG just have it so easy everywhere else.
A lot of people focus around this mid lane though. Battle to try and get control over mid lane so they can lean in, get bot side vision here at the next dragon. At least vision in river is in favor of IG, but you can see TT.
What? Oh, YaoYao with the curse of the sad mummy. It's only a one-man, but hey, good enough. It enables the resets for this compass. Shun now is a whirlwind of a cyclone, of a thunderstorm, of an absolute downpour in sadness. TT with 2 more kills, and Dagda, I guess he is still useful.
Yeah, I mean, great engage there for him. Flash forward, gets the play, and that is exactly what you kind of want to get some kills back in your favor. The only problem, though, is that now you don't actually have that advantage up and available for this next dragon fight in 50 seconds. No flash, no ultimate in YaoYao, but you do get control of all the waves. So, unfortunately, it looks like they won't be able to contest dragon, but maybe they can try and look for something else around the map.
Yuekai 0-3, by the way. I don't mean to, you know, go deep on this Dagda, but last game was quite harsh on him. This time again, it feels like the mid gank was so well executed by TT. Second time around, the response was half decent, but this time as well, the play from TT still great, but Yuekai is just getting focused in, and this is a support Swain, remember. We're not getting the Leandries. We are getting the Imperial Mandate, so he still doesn't have that item. He's that far behind as YaoYao sets this up from over the wall.
Yeah, I mean, great flash from YaoYao. The follow-up having the ultimate there. Spirit rush over from Ucal to follow up, and once Beichuan gets the resets, that's where it's lights out here for IG. There's just so many ways to try and follow up on the rest of this fight. Now, TT have moved into this bot side jungle, but as we said again, YaoYao, no ultimate. Beichuan, no ultimate. Ucal, no ultimate. If IG contest, that could be an issue, but IG don't look like they care. They're going to try and move up towards this top side instead. You have the Rift held, so IG going to trade Dragon for tier 1 on top side.
And it takes away that timer that IG were hoping to force Dagda, that they were trying to set up for TT to be lured in. I think there is now a lot more to say about this red-sided team as they get the Dragon that sets it up for the Cloud Soul. And more importantly, Dagda see the response play on the map. The mid jungle is set up like you wanted to see. They're even bringing Ucal to the top side to try and keep this safe of Hoya to make sure that he doesn't get dove down with the 3-man plus Herald.
Yeah, just to try and stop the second charge onto that tier 2 tower as well. But it does mean you're equaling out the gold lead a little bit here for IG, because with all those kills going across the TT, the gold lead is in favor of TT. Yep. But at least you're still getting a lot of money on towards On, and On now needs to be the carry for this team.
Oh, YaoYao coming in though. Spirit Rush once again. Yuekai flashes over the wall, but the next target he cleanses away. The bandage toss again. YaoYao has another one in his back pocket, but doesn't need it. 0-4. He is 4 out of the 5 deaths in this second game, and TT are starting to play with their food. Once again, reminiscent of our first game of the series.
This is what we talked about with the new bot lane coming in for TT though. YaoYao roaming mid, working around that center point of Ucal, and Beichuan helping out as well. This has actually been such a good addition, and again, that 3-man unit is finding these picks. They're finding those moments. Now they have full control of bots, so they get to go and trade for bot turret as well. This is just such a good play, and Ucal, again, the focus piece starting this off. Goes in, gets the charm, gets the cleanse, and that just sets up then for YaoYao with the easy bandage toss to finish things off.
I mean, it's so nice to see TT coming together. Like, the first game I felt very critical of IG because IG were the ones plunging underneath turrets so early on. But this time, it's shown more of TT's proactivity, Dagda, when, yes, their lane got stomped in the bottom side. Kepler and YaoYao are still behind in CS, but hey, TT found a response elsewhere in the map. The game has come alive. It's a 2k gold lead, and they've stifled the dragon plays that IG were building up. Hell, even with the second Herald spawning, they're setting themselves up on the top lane. They're making sure that they've got mid-wave under control. And as they move here as a 5-man unit, I'm kind of curious as to how the fight goes and whether IG even want to challenge it at this point.
I mean, it's so hard. This is what we're talking about. Once TT get a lead, they can actually use YaoYao so effectively. And I don't know where TT were hiding this support. Like, why is he on your LDL team when he's popping off?
Oh, Hoya. Oh, Hoya. Kepler, and YaoYao, Dagda. All I need to do is say the names because with a double kill going down. Kepler gets a second one. TT. Dagda, I didn't know they stood for Thomas the damn tank engine.
Hysterics. This is beautiful from the TTs. Ucal even as well, pushing it top, getting some pressure to Zika. Rift Herald's got to go their way. They are dominating in this game. It looked a little bit scary with the advantage that on again on the bottom side, but now 2 kills for Kepler. Beichuan has the Rift Herald. They've gotten the mid and the bot tower. This is so well done, and no vision on this bottom side. Hoya instantly flash it onto on, so that he can't actually get the flash away. You see as well, just good timing on Hoya with the ultimate means that even with the cleanse coming through, you don't get the flash away coming through from on. And then the follow-up onto Wink, who tries to get the bailout, but he's already dead.
It's so clean. I love Gragas that leave the lane and sacrifice CS that Dagda make roams towards mid all the time. Hoya kind of giving me those 369 vibes. I don't know if you remember on JDG at the start of the year when he was playing a bit of Gragas and even maybe the start of this split too. 369 sacks his way for a bit, makes this really unexpected roam, is always moving on the map as a Gragas top, and Hoya is giving me the exact same vibes.
Yeah, I mean, coming across from Damwon Gaming, Hoya has been absolutely spectacular. And again, like, you expect this roster to pop off when you're adding Ucal, when you're adding Hoya, who finished 3rd in LCK playoffs back in spring. Like, this is a roster that should do well, and it was so frustrating to see it kind of taking time to ramp up, but my god, now that it's here, TT, they are terrifying.
They are 4K in the lead. The Dragon coming up for 30 seconds now seems uncontestable. We even have a Magi's on Ucal. The confidence astounds me. As Hoya in the side lane adds pressure, Zika not the one matching it for the time being. As Yuekai comes on down, this demolish will still be a bit of a trade, and I feel like right now, TT stacking up those dragons too. The ability haste on the ultimate Dagda. I'm wrong, aren't I? Oh god, they changed Cloud Dragon. I hate how the game changes so much.
Hey, look, it keeps it nice and fresh and means that I have to spend a lot of hours pouring over patch notes. This is what my life is. But
every patch as well. Every patch as well. Like we've 12-10, 12-11, 12-12. So much has changed where now it's like, hey, are you ready to do 20 hours worth of prep in one day again before your broadcast? I think you are.
But that's just my life now. I accept I am just a person staring at the screen at all points in my life. But TT also stared at their screens, but with a little bit of a smile. They're pretty happy with the way this one's going. Talked about IG having a really strong team fight with the 4-man unit, but I mean, with Yuekai as far behind as he is, Shun not really finding the advantages that he needed. The only thing that they can rely on is on. And now, don't get me wrong, on is still in a good spot. Like, Nerdy having the Lord Dominic's Regard completed, but the big advantage that he had over his lane opponent is now completely dwindling with both the 2 items completed for Kepler thanks to 2 kills he picked up.
I mean, there's no CS difference anymore. It's just amazing. Arn had such a good start to this game, and yeah, the fact that it's dwindled is a sad news story for IG. The 1-6 team that I put hope in at the start of the split has dwindled, and against TT, it looks so one-sided. They don't even have a kill yet, Dagda.
It's just TT taking over. No defense here on the top tier 2. You now get to take over in the top lane, or the top side jungle here as well. Get vision control. Baron is up in 2 minutes time where they can actually try and go towards it if they want to. They don't have the best Baron taking, but may just kill IG instead.
Well, they go in. That Curse of the Sad Mummy, absolutely beautiful. The Cyclone from Shun as a follow-up. Even better, though, as the 3-man ulti from Wink sets up a nice play, but YaoYao disengages, and TT have missed out on a lot of their engages. Hoya still with the ulti through, but he's not going to use it to save Hoya as, saving YaoYao. The pullback here from IG, but that explosive cast, Hoya does it again. Ucal's going to come in and make it even harder, as that's a reset given up, and that means a big thing for TT. Beichuan still running forward, uses ulti in onto Shun. Hoya with explosive cast again, the body slam too.
Oh, no.
Bait tried to take on a 1v3, can't get it. Kind of sad for TT, but IG are given a window back into the game.
If language barrier was a play, you're seeing it right there. Hoya goes in and gets a beautiful engage, but Beichuan just wasn't ready. Now Ucal, no Spirit Rush, what can he do?
No, but he has flash available, and Kepler still chasing up on top of Wink, wants it, but Ren's already come through. Zika now on a bit of an angle himself, but he has no mana. It's more of an escape angle at this point as Ucal needs to Orbit Deception. Orbit Deception, no, the lens out of range. So Zika will get out of there. But hey, Dagda, IG claw back some of the gold off of TT, trying to force it down mid.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you actually got the re-engage from TT, giving them so much more as well. On now, Lord Dominic's Regard just completed. Yuekai desperately needs that Riley's Crystal Scepter though, because the Imperial Mandate not doing a huge amount when you're not able to kind of help slow the team with the Riley's, provide a ton more of those procs. Ucal will just back away from the blue buff here, but we're 1 and 5 now on Yuekai. He's had to go for the more defensive build.
I love now, Dagda, Ucal and Yuekai. We're going down the path of the two U mid laners, and I'm struggling too. I feel like Ucal in this game though has been the name we've been saying more because this mid laner has been the better player by far. But in that last fight, Yuekai finally coming into it just a little bit. YaoYao with his setup too is something I'm sure we're going to see again as IG keep facing up towards this Baron. But note they still have no vision around the area. They have no setup for the third dragon that TT are more than willing to take on. And at this point, they're walking towards mid blind. Hoya running at Arn and Wink, but they're still so far away, and he's not going to get a thing.
Yeah, Chem Tank for Shreddy's Reverie there, both burning their movement speed abilities, items to try and get out and into safety. So TT still going to posture here, get that vision control that we were talking about around that dragon that you just mentioned, Hysterics. Resets now coming through, and I mean, IG don't even have vision at all. Actually, I was meant to say bot side. Do they have vision on the map? Where's their wards? There's one on Baron and one above at the back of blue buff. That's the two, maybe a third ward that just planted down there.
Woo!
Like, how do you try and contest this? You're walking completely into this bot side blind. You don't know where YaoYao is. You don't know where Kepler is. Hoya could be, well, Hoya is spotted on the wave top side, but I mean, you now are forced to try and contest mid lane push here as IG to then lean into river, but you're walking again and completely blind.
So, that needs to change. Of course, IG are going on a hunt for vision, which is nice to see, and set up these deeper margins too, but as they hover around the mid lane, Beichuan and Ucal, the two people who demand resets in this upcoming fight, step forward pretty aggressively. No flash available for Beichuan here if he gets caught out, but note that summoner for Wink not available as Ucal once again with the charm. Not going to force the cleanse. It's not available either because it's a ghost TP on this Swain mid. And as IG move for the inside track on mid, Hoya now spotted out as well. Dragon's going to be taken. TT a bit scattered here. Dagda and IG are grouped up as always.
Ucal, Spirit rushes over the wall to dodge away from the never move. Ucal, again, like that's Spirit Rush completely gone. Both used defensively to try and get away from the Gravitum as well.
But it might not matter as the charm comes through. Maybe it does, Dagda. I'm completely wrong. Shouldn't goes in for the Cyclone, but he's exhausted, and the flash was burned here by the Ahri. So Ucal with the Unsealed Spellbook will have the TP, but he doesn't plan on going back soon. Still a nice little trade here from IG, considering they're the ones down.
Yeah, so TT gonna now move over in towards the top side. They got what they came for. Third dragon in their hands. Now they can start to establish vision control on the top end. And Zika does have TP, so they won't try and start. Oh, I was about to say they shouldn't try and start up this Baron, but I mean, TT have definitely been willing to flip these Baron in their last couple of series.
Just look at Hoya though. I mean, he's the gatekeeper, he is the bodyguard, the bouncer, and a bounce house started by YaoYao. Bandage toss missing, but Hoya's by himself. He was on bodyguard duty, but 4 thugs showed up on the side. As a hostile takeover gets them hitting each other, and now we can resume kicking the people out of the club. TT are going to back away, and it seems like they need to regroup before they tackle the 18-year-olds with drinks in their hands.
Yeah, wasn't quite able to get the barrier up in time to stop the IG members pouring in. Doesn't get the bandage toss. May need to try and get it this time, though.
But IG is the right move, really starting up this Baron as they move to a choke as a 4-man unit. Hoya is on the flank. They turn for the play on YaoYao. Bandage toss goes to Sad Mummy, nothing works. Hoya comes on in, but the ulti's not up and available. Ucal on the same angle as IG, getting a bit of a freebie here. Hoya going golden, but everyone's already gone. Beichuan doesn't want to commit. Ucal's already out of there. Now things are looking real messy for TT.
This is what we talked about. TT's team fighting, not exactly spectacular in general, and the composition from IG is so good in those fights. TT now, can you make the steal?
Well, they don't have
Shun's
YaoYao for the
so
AoE ult. I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, Shun and Beichuan as well, though. That's the problem here. This Viego, who's level 13, over the wall. He heartbreakers in. Not going to be a 50-50. IG will take him down alongside the Purple Worm. They're back in this game in a massive way, and it has just been clumsy to say the least, but a lot of clumsy fun.
Good call from IG to not damage that Baron at the end, though. Means that when Beichuan goes in with the ultimate, the damage isn't there. The Baron is too healthy to try and steal away, but we're going to catch the replay here. Like, YaoYao again misses the bandage toss, which is just unfortunate here. He gets so much damage, doesn't get into a good position, ends up throwing the ultimate into no man's land, and it means that Hoya and Ucal are completely out of position. Beichuan and Kepler can't try and contest because there's just so much front line here from IG between Zika, Yuekai, Shun. You've just got too many bodies in the way to try and deal very much damage, so TT end up far too separated and can't find the fight.
And Ahn's starting to get his game. Ahn is starting to get what he deserved earlier on, which is a very strong Aphelios here in this game where IG had the CompuFavored Dagda, and at this point, with Baron buff, they're now going to finally take the gold lead in it. TT just searching for angles once again, but look how many elements are in play at the same time. Zika with the Baron on the side wave I heard you mentioning is just doing the same thing with the rest of IG moving to his location.
And you got good wave clear, or sorry, you've got very little wave clear on TT side. Ucal can't help, Hoya can do some, but Hoya hasn't actually gone for the build we've been seeing a lot more with the Archangel staff. He's gone for the full tank build, so he doesn't really offer too much to these creeps, so IG perfectly happy to let the double canyons do the work.
Double canyons, Dagda, you sneaky devil you. You've been talking about Hoya, you've been talking about Ucal. You know, Yuekai sounds almost like Ucal now. Now you're telling me canyons in here as well. You've been.
Hey, look, Hoya used to be on Dam 1. I had to slip in a little bit of the reference. You know?
Yeah, you definitely been watching a bit of LCK or something, man. I can hear it. I can hear it. It just keeps coming in. You better watch yourself at this point. Because, look, this TT roster, they're not looking like Dam 1, all right? They're nothing like them. At the moment, Hoya's had some good moments in the early game, but these team fights have been falling apart. And the coordination, if they had it like Dam 1, I feel like this game could have been over by now as well. But TT backs against the wall a little bit as the 4th dragon for them. The Soul now spawning, but IG have no interest. They're barreling up the mid lane with Baron buff.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a great spot again. Cannon minions here, so IG got to get some press forward. Ucal is... Oh, he walked into the bush. He doesn't know he's on a ward.
Oh, man, that's just rough. I don't know what to say about that, but Ucal, a big mistake coming through in 40 seconds. Dragon now IGs, and as much as they want for the next 40 seconds to be fair as well.
Oh, Ucal walked out of the bush the exact second that ward was placed into it, the pink ward, so he couldn't actually spot it because he wasn't in the bush anymore. So thought he was clear, but gets completely bamboozled. Now TT, mid laner down, won't try and contest for the dragon. They will be able to just push out their lanes, but giving that much control over the IG ahead of that is just heartbreak.
So now I'm going to come back to the earlier point, which is like, scaling seems to be a thing that we have to start talking about. We'll watch again, because as you said...
Yeah, so he swept the bush, so Ucal thinks he's safe, and then see, he just steps out of the bush, so doesn't realize the ward's gone down, which gives that great engage. That's so sad.
Feels bad for Ucal. Bad timing, and that costs TT even more. IG, we're still with the gold lead in this game now, and Baron as it expires. We got 2.5 minutes until the next one comes up, but they're starting to build up their Dragon Soul too. They've denied it from TT to give them that Cloud Soul that, you know, honestly, could probably do quite a lot of work here for the team. But IG Dagda, we come back to the scaling discussion, the setup for team fighting for IG. And I know you always favored it, especially if a game went even to this time in the game.
Yeah, I mean, On is huge at this stage. 4, 1, and 2, 3 items completed, and we'll start to work up towards, I imagine, something like the rapid fire cannon on this next purchase. So he's going to be a good spot. You've got great team fighting coming through from Shun. Yuekai with the Riley Scepter now completed. Even Zika as well is just going to start taking over in these side lanes. So even if he gets left alone for a little bit, he's going to be such a menace. I don't know how TT are supposed to come back into this game. It looks like Ucal basically just going, hey, look, I'm going to try and push side lanes. Let's see if maybe we can trade through map presence instead.
Okay. We'll get some gold back in their pockets, maybe. I mean, Ucal was the person who was carrying this game at a point thanks to Beichuan, even thanks to Hoya on this Gragas. But as IG start harassing the turret going down, you can see Zika now making himself known in the bottom side too. TT going to try for a numbers advantage, but there's some now real good warding from IG in their wake. So game continues to be a little bit slower now, and you're right, Dagda. It seems really hard to find a way where they come back in. I think we need to see perfect Amumu ult, Beichuan, Ucal getting the first reset as well. and maybe taking over a scattered fight from IG.
Yeah, I mean, Ucal is going for a very burst-heavy build. It's not the Everfrost build that we traditionally see from Ahri, so he's a lot of single-target damage. Maybe if he can get on towards On in a team fight, he can try and pick off On, but the problem that you're going to see is, like, GA already underway for On. He's not even going for the attack speed, he's just, like, survivability. Cleanse already there, bailout from Wink as well. And if you're putting yourself that deep into the fight as Ucal, chances are you're going to go down for it, and that just gives On the reset. So I think TT are really going to struggle. It feels like you need, like, as you say, like YaoYao and Hoya to have a great ult onto On, so that then Ucal can just one-shot him without any of the other pesky problems coming through.
Still seems like a hard ask. You know, we're trying to go through conditions like what is realistic at this point, and they're going to the bottom of the list. TT with Baron now spawning, trying to play the vision game too, but Ashun walks in here now with a GA. That engage gets even scarier. Ucal and Beichuan off on an angle, but they're spotted out too, and IG still have mid priority. They still have the river that they can just walk into too, and TT being scattered. Never a good thing here as Ucal gets a good trade on Zika, but that won't change things unless it goes down further.
Everyone in TT trying to see if they can find those flank angles though. Like Ucal threatening with Beichuan, YaoYao trying to hide out of vision.
Good ward. I mean, Ucal, they know that Jack's back. They know that the top laner back. Onto Shun, the bailout's there. TT, can they do anything with it? Of course, he does have teleport himself, but TT tried to burn a fight there, at least trying to find some kind of window as the Spirit Rush in again. The charm doesn't connect. YaoYao gets thrown in with the Fate's Call. A flash from Ahn. They re-engage as Hoya there with the explosive cast. They got Wink. Bailout now down as Shun is dealing with Beichuan on the side. A two-man body bop is good, but YaoYao as he goes golden won't have much else to add. Kepler running into the middle of the fight, but Ahn is truly scaled. And Zika starts bopping heads too. Ucal trying for the next reset, but Ahn's Quadra denied. He was going to die anyway, so Zika gets a little tap on the head, and IG restart the confidence in the series.
And that's exactly what we're saying. If you can't get On, you can't get a chance in this fight. IG's AD carry stepping up huge there. And now TT will fall as we go to the game 3.
I can't believe it's going to a game 3. TT had this in the bag, and it all comes falling apart. A lot of issues to talk about Dagda in the post of this one, but at least IG going down or going up, swinging. I don't know. Thomas the Tank Engine, he has many friends.
Yeah, I mean, TT tried their damnedest to get on towards On, but he was just too big at this stage. Andy's got so much protection in this composition with the cleanse, his stopwatch, the bailout, the hostile takeover. There was so much there to make sure that On was able to stay up and healthy, and you can see quadra kill at the end of that, denied a penta with this low health bar, but that was a beautiful fight from On, and just nothing TT could do about it.
Always feels good, feels bad when you see a penta being stolen away, but I feel like On was on death's door there as well, couldn't walk up. It's unfortunate, but at the very least, you know, he got this quadra kill. Well deserved, but I have to say, Dagda, the control for TT in that game was very sensible despite losing the bottom lane lead. They came back, mid-jungle worked out nicely, but it was that transition. It was what do we do next that seemed to stymie them, or stifle them, I should say, and that's where IG found their merit.
Yeah, one or two fights where YaoYao couldn't quite get the engage that he wanted off really hurt them. That one just at the front of Baron that then gave so much control over towards IG. The fact that they got like all that gold as well just helped snowball On into a completely favorable position. And even we were talking about it from the early stages where On had the bot side pressure. He got 4 turret plates just off the laning phase, let alone adding a Rift Herald into the mix. Then he starts to get the top lane turret plates as well with the Rift Herald. Like, On was the one that needed to carry this game, and he stepped up massively.
Yeah, he did. Good for him, considering we had a lot of questions about him and Wink, in Game 1 especially. This seems to be a series where, you know, if TT can't close it out by 30 minutes, then we start having concerns. Like, yes, in game number 1, it felt like the comp Dagda was a little bit more easy to run to, but TT had better decision-making, and it's kind of sad to see, but hey, in the other sense, Yuekai finally stopped getting bullied. He got to play the game, because I tell you what, 0-4 in 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, doesn't feel good at all.
It definitely doesn't, and I mean, Ucal's damage kind of says a lot about how much was chucked his way. I have to say, though, I think the game plan from TT in the early stages still looking incredibly strong. Beichuan, Ucal, YaoYao, this three-man, trio, doing well in setting up plays in the early stages, like getting Ucal ahead. It is just unfortunate that with the amount of support that Ucal has gotten, because you're on the Ahri, you're not really able to carry team fights, even as you can see with 40% of the team's damage. And Kepler was negligible in this game, like actually not being able to get to a point where he was really relevant. Whereas when you look across at someone like On, who has a team that's set up around him, a ton of tanks to kind of keep him in position, the bailout to make sure he's safe, and the fact he got this great early lead, you needed to do a better job on TT side of shutting down On, and they just never got around to it.
It's time for a break, Dagda. I don't know. The series obviously getting us warmed up for our match of the week, but IGTT pretty much fighting for their lives as well in the grand scheme of things. Honestly, feels like the winner of this could be a team that we talk about later having a short chance of playoffs, but how short it is, we'll also have to find out. We go to a break, we recover our inner selves, we go to game 3 with open hearts and open minds and open arms to welcome you all back. We'll see you soon.